IDG. Big up to Congestion doing a great job as usual. Hello, Lobby. How are you? Hello, Jackie.
Hi, Naj. I'm doing good. Nice day today. I've got a chance to actually go out and smell the roses, like they say. And of course, here in New York, you don't smell much roses.
Yes.
You right now, the city, as it's opening every single day. There's a lot of traffic happening out there, and which we are happy about. Both people are going back to work, which is something that is great. However, we just want to mention a couple of things tonight. And we want to talk about driver safety and the right to bargain, which is two topics are very important to drivers. The second topic covers mostly all the benefits and the rights that the driver deserve, not only in New York, but also in other states as well. And we recognize that there is, a surge of deactivated drivers, and that entails like there is something wrong or something wrong happening to the drivers. And we want to be the guide for all those who are being deactivated or terminated from a job, and that's something that is unacceptable. But again, it is driver responsibility to recognize, those behaviors from whether the company or the riders or, whatever issue that they are facing. Before I start on the conversation, I just want to introduce Jackie. Jackie is also an organizer and a fellow driver as well. So, Jackie, how you doing?
How's everybody? Hey, Larby. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? As a driver now, it's very, very tough. Unemployment ended, so there's going to be a large surplus of drivers on the road. But, if you play it smart, I'm pretty sure you will make, you still make quite a lot of money. It's all about the techniques you learn over the years. It's all about the skills you learn, where to be, how to go from there. And this kind of job, it's very hard to do, right? You pick people up, you drop people off, but without the right technique, you're not going to be making much over, like, compared to your friend that makes a lot more. So everybody has their own techniques. So, guys, I was going to say, play around, dabble a little bit, see how you guys, play around with the techniques a little bit, see how you guys do with this. It's one thing is you got to learn about this industry. You got to learn, what changes are happening. You got to learn, like if there's any events happening or anything like that. As a driver, if you do not have any techniques, I can guarantee you're not going to make as much. And, the longer we drive, the more we're going to learn about the industry, right? So we just got to be there and just work hard and hope for the best. Back to you, Larry.
Thank you, Jackie. And the question remains, why drivers choose this work? And there is many answers to that. I think the number one answer is the flexibility. But is it true that this job gives you the flexibility? That's a topic that I want to discuss, with every single driver here in New York City. Do you feel that its flexibility represents itself? And once you start working, can you stop? And I've heard many, many answers. And one of them is that I can't stop working because it's very hard to actually deal with this job. And like Jackie mentioned, you need to have the necessary skills. And we teach you that at IDG. Why we teach you that? Because drivers and workers are important to us, important to myself. That's what I fight for. I fight for the drivers. I don't fight for anything but the driver. Is Malik with us, Elijah?
No, he's he's talking to his father right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope everything is okay on his side. But we're going to continue this conversation here And I would like in the next week that we can have some drivers calling the show, and we want to interact with them. We want to also hear from them, and that's very important engagement. Why? Because there is many restrictions that it's happening. There is many laws that they are changing, and we want to be part of it. We want the drivers to be part of it. I'm going to pass it to you, Jackie. I want you to talk a little bit about collective bargaining and how is it important for drivers. And through collective bargaining, we're going to jump into driver safety. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah. So, the reason why collective bargaining is important is because, listen, the whole point of collective bargaining is, it's like we're trying to keep the beauty of having, we're trying to have the beauty of being independent contractors while keeping our rights of having, there's the beauty of being independent contractors with extra stuff like that applies to employees. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, as employees, we have the right to unionize and all that stuff. But what if we were to create another chapter, another sector of how we're being classified, right? And the reason why I say that is because, listen, if we were to create this independent contractor with collective bargaining power, what will we have? We're going to have, still the flexible freedom that we were promised in the beginning, but we will be able to negotiate the terms of what we want, what we can get for the future. Like, for example, if you want higher pay, we can negotiate the term as a union to get higher pay. If you want more protection on the job, a lot of drivers, they're being kicked off the app, and with collective bargaining, we're able to tell them, hey, we got to sit down on the table and say, why did this guy get deactivated? Why did this girl got deactivated as a driver? And, we'll be able to have a better voice, a better understanding, and a better fight for the drivers. And there's many other benefits out there, and, I'm sure Larby would, say the rest. Back to you, Larby.
Right, thank you, Jackie. And before I forget, I just want to jump into the MTA and the Central Business District tolling program. Alternatively, they are looking for other resources and coming to the drivers, of course, again, to tax the drivers and to force a toll on them. And if you, this is your first time hearing about the MTA 2 days ago, it was a hearing, and the hearing was actually to present this program, which is a tolling program. What does that mean, tolling program? That means every time you drive in or you enter a vehicle, enter Manhattan south of 68th Street, you will have to pay a toll. And that's what they call it. The CBD stands for Central Business District. That means that's where business happens. And during my testimony, I really was, angry because a lot of people, they're not seeing how this is going to affect the drivers, and they are ignoring completely the drivers here in New York. And to say the least, I think we need to stand together and fight this. And if we stay silent, more tolling programs going to be in. You will be crossing the 59th Street Bridge to come to the city, and you have to pay a toll. You will be, getting tolls everywhere. And that's absurd. This toll right now will, they're going to fight it, and they're probably going to win it. But we're not going to stop fighting against it, because that wouldn't be right. And if you participate in the testimony, IDG would like to hear from you. If you can connect with us, because we want to, follow up with this, and we want to stop it completely. At least we have to exempt driver completely from 100% exemption from drivers, FHV drivers, the one we advocate for, along with other drivers as well, such as, the wave vehicles and whatnot. Actually, the wave vehicles, they've been exempt. They include that qualifying vehicle transporting person with disability and qualifying authorized emergency vehicle will be exempt. We want to include the drivers as well. We are the one that moves New York. People don't take public transportation for various reasons. Number one, reliability, safety, cleanness, so on and so forth. But we want to be included in that exemption as well. So we're going to fight it, and we're not going to stop until we get our rights. You have anything to say about that, Jackie? Go ahead. Jackie?
Sorry, I was on mute. One thing I wanted to say was that, I don't know why MTA is trying to say that, FHV vehicles have to be paying for that congestion pricing when, we're already subdued, we're already charged that. After every ride in, I believe, 60th Street and below or 96th Street and below, passengers, they actually pay another $275 on top of the bill. And that is the congestion pricing. And MTA sees that as a chance of saying, hey, you pay that, they could use that money to fix whatever they got to fix. Now, my biggest problem behind that is the fact that they take this money and what do they do with it? Yeah, they say, oh, we're going to find retired because of the shortage of train drivers, subway drivers. They say they're going to add, just retired or retired train operators and give them $35,000 for a month or 3 months. Now, to me, that's a lot of money, right? That money that could be used in other ways. Like, they could have used that to fix whatever train signal problems that they have every day. They could use that money to fix the conditions of the subway stations. Whenever there's a huge storm like Sandy and Ida, train stations, they're being flooded. I'm pretty sure this amount of money that is being put into the MTA, they could use that money to fix that thing, no problem. Now, I don't know how MTA's books are, but I feel like they're using the money in very weird ways, in very bad ways. They're just they're putting it in different areas where it's not supposed to. That's just my personal opinion on it, and that has to stop, in my opinion. They got to put the money where the public needs it. They raised the fare, and the service is getting, worse and worse and worse. Before it might take you an hour to get it. Now a train breaks down along the way, and then all of a sudden it's an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that is nuts. We pay for a service, we expect better service that way, and that is something MTA got to keep that in mind. Back to you, Larby.
Absolutely, Jackie. I think they still have to do the research on how to actually tax, the hardworking people. And I feel like, every time, since I started driving, I pay, toward the fund that is being collected by the city and given to the MTA. What have they done? It's none of my concerns, of course. That's an infrastructure that is over hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but it's deteriorating. Yeah, they need to fix it, but not on the back of drivers. I'm sorry. You have to, look at it alternatively. And that's what we're fighting. We want the drivers to be exempt. The drivers actually move the city, even better than the MTA, and they need to recognize that. And beside that, drivers have no benefits coming from that. And that is sad. You're working for, a company that doesn't care about you, the company that want to eliminate you from the transportation industry, period. How are you going to survive? What are you going to put all those workers? They need to, re-examine and revisit, the issues that, the workers are facing. And again, IDG will fight for that, and we continue to fight it. And I don't see none of those other organizations doing anything for the drivers, even, as simple as actually attending those meetings and attending those hearings and fighting for the rights of the drivers. But let's jump in quickly right here, Jackie. I want to talk about driver safety and collective bargaining and how that can impact, the life of drivers. And there's many reasons. We don't need to expand on all of them, but the website is righttobargainny.org. That is righttobargainny.org. You have all the information available, and talking about the driver safety, the establishment of benefits, and providing job security and due process. And I'm going to come back to due process in a few seconds here. But the idea of collective bargaining is actually giving a voice to a driver, a worker, I would rather say, and give them the power that they need. And Jackie, we want to talk about, accountability from, the tech company side, because, those companies are implementing, new gimmicks that actually prevent drivers from, earning a living and a decent living, and actually having the flexibility that they're being promised. Go ahead, Jackie.
So before I get there, I'm going to ask everybody a quick question, right? How much do you think big tech companies put into for automated machines, for self-driving cars? Whatever the money they put into those, it would have been a lot more helpful if they could bring back the search system, if they could raise the prices of each fare. All that money they dump into those, they can still make a profit from there. It's just that in capitalism, people are greedy. Big tech companies are greedy. They're greedy to make more money in their own pocket, even though, they don't mind. They're looking at it in a long-term basis, right? And how they see us drivers is a very short-term way. They say, hey, we can run these tech companies for a couple of years, and when we don't need them, we kick everybody off, and we switch to, automated driving for everywhere else. And I'm 1,000% sure that is the goal of every tech company out there. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, that's the only way they're going to make a better income. They might say, yeah, we're going to subsidize every ride for every self-driving car out there, but what's going to happen afterwards? After all the drivers are off, they're going to say, oh, now we're going to raise the price. It's just like how Uber did it in the beginning, right? Or how the big tech companies do it in the beginning. They subsidize the rides for riders. They subsidize the rides for the drivers. They pay extra for the drivers. That way they loop the drivers in. That way they loop the riders and they lock them in. They say, oh, now we there's a service here that is excellent. We can use it all the time, and it's very reliable. Now, what happens next, right? We're getting to a point where tech companies are saying, okay, we invested this much. Automated cars are around the corner. Now, who is there to protect the drivers? And this is where actually collective bargaining comes in. Big tech companies, deep down, why don't they want employee status? They do not want employee status because they got to pay for this, they got to pay for that, all of it, right? Yeah. What do drivers want? A lot of drivers, they came from a corporate background. A lot of drivers, they want to maintain a freedom because they have, they want to be able to talk to their family member, to spend time with their family members. They got to pick up the kids and all that stuff, right? And through that, when they do that, they're able to say, hey, I don't have a boss. I don't have someone say, you got to be at work from 9 to 5. They say you could work anytime you want. And that is what drivers want. They want to have the freedom of working when they want, where they want, without telling some guy or some girl up there, the higher ups in the corporation, say, I cannot come to work today because of this, and that. Right? And that is what drivers want. Now, with collective bargaining power and independent contractor status, we'll be able to keep that freedom that we wanted. We'll be able to keep the freedom to say, hey, my kid is sick, I got to take them to see the doctor. all that stuff. And that is what drivers want, right? So this is why collective bargaining is important. And does that mean that, if we're independent contractors, do we not get any rights? No. And this is where collective bargaining comes in. We become the voice for the drivers. We help the drivers get the voice. Drivers can come to us and say, hey, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. We can address those problems and find a way to create a solution with tech companies.
Yeah.
And that is what we all want, right? A lot of drivers come to me and say, hey, Jackie, I'm deactivated. What can you help me with? I could submit an appeal. But if collective bargaining passes, guess what? We could tell the app companies, hey, this driver, he got deactivated. What's wrong? Let's sit down, let's talk about it, and let's figure out a way to say, hey, do we, to get this to try to get this guy back on, or this driver, this female driver, male driver, whatever driver. We're going to try and get them back on that way, right? And that is the beauty of collective bargaining. That way we won't be at-will employees. At-will employees means a company can fire you at any time. If you become an employer of tech companies, they can fire them anytime. Did you know, this is a story that I've seen online, right? During the middle of the pandemic, Uber invited like 6,000 employees on the Zoom meeting, on a Zoom call. And guess what? They fired 6,000 workers right off at once. How is that right for how is that right for the Uber employees? And those are the people that work inside Uber, right? Now, if you want to become drivers as employees, they could do that. They could say, okay, all 100,000 drivers, one of you, you're off the app, you're fired, you cannot get back on again. So keep that in mind. Like, what do drivers want? Do you want to be at-will employees, or do you want independent contractors and right to bargain power? Right to bargain equals you have to come to a committee and say why you want to fire this guy, or you have to say the reason why you want to fire this guy, and we have to sit down and we have to fix it. And that is the beauty about collective bargaining. Back to you, Lobby.
Great, Jackie. All good talk, and I want to turn in this talk into action. So I'm calling all the drivers that they are here and join IDG, learn more about the right to bargain bill. That is something IDG is fighting for the drivers. 24/7, I would say. That's what organizing for us is. We don't stop organizing. 10 reasons to support this bill. I'm just going to list them right here. Establishment of historic collective bargaining rights for rideshare workers, ending poverty wages for thousands of New York share workers, reforming exploitative app fees and commission structure, and we'll get to the detail on the next Saturday. Providing employment insurance for New York worker, for rideshare workers, and guaranteeing the schedule of flexibility for drivers. The drivers count on expanding delivery drivers' access to compensation that is part of the bill as well. Protection from discrimination. Establishment of groundbreaking benefits, talking about benefits for the workers, and providing job security in due process. That is what is really important for all the workers, is actually, you choose to be part of that trade and you lost your job. But with this bill, we'll be able to secure that job for you and have a due process, when things happen. And the last one, and there's actually more, but the last one tonight is holding big tech company accountable. And what does that mean? If somebody gets injured while on the job, if somebody get into an accident, what type of compensation that driver is going to have and his family, and so on and so forth. And IDG already have a platform that is actually providing financial help to the family if a driver gets injured or even when they lost their life. So with that said, just going to remind everyone, join us at IDG every Tuesday. If you're not a member yet, go to drivingguild.org. That is driving with A-N-G and GUILD.org.
.org. He well said it, Larby. If you're not a member yet of IDG and you are a taxi driver, you better go and be a member. Thank you again for you guys' leadership. IDG doing a great job as usual. La Radio Sunuafrik, on vous aime.